Hello, my name is Theron Sherrod, product manager for the cordless tools at Bosch Tool Corporation. I'm here to talk to you about CORE 18 volt, which is our latest development in battery technology. As Bosch has begun to notice the transition from corded tools to cordless tools, Bosch wants to be able to provide a corded experience in a cordless tool. In order to do that, we realize that there are three things that have to be done. One, you have to change the cell. The second thing is that you have to find a way to better manage the heat. And the third thing that has to be done is that you have to better construct the battery. So in the first example, what I said is that you have to improve the cell. The current cell that's used is called an 18650. The newest cell is the 2700. The difference between these cells is 2 millimeters in diameter and 5 millimeters in height. But yet with that 33% increase in size, we're actually able to get 80% more power out of the battery. That's 80% more power out of the battery, and that's key. The second thing that we've done is that we better manage the heat. This is an exploded view, if you will, of the core battery. As you can see, the core battery, you can see each cell actually has its own compartment. And by each cell having its own compartment, what we're able to do is to extract the heat out of the battery that much better. What other batteries manufacturers do is, if you look at this particular battery, you can actually see the holes or the spaces in between the cells. That's just a reservoir for heat. The second thing that you'll notice is that the cells are actually touching each other. When a power tool is being used, the cells begin to heat up. And what happens in this situation is that the cells that are touching each other or adjacent to each other begin to transfer heat to one another. This is just not good for the battery. What CoolPack has done, again, is that it actually provides each cell with its own compartment. Let's take, for example, on a cold day, let's just say that your finger is cold. If my finger is cold, I'm not going to loosely wrap my hand around my finger. What I'm going to do is completely wrap my hand around my finger such that it's touching on all sides, so that I can transfer the maximum amount of heat from my hand into my cold finger. That's exactly what we do here with the CoolPack 2.0 technology. We wrap each cell completely so that it's surrounded, so that we can extract the heat from the cell, and then the fins on the back help channel the warm air and that heat out and away from the battery. The third thing that I told you that we need to do is that we found a better way to construct the battery. Again, looking at the exploded view of the core battery, you'll notice two things. You'll notice these copper plates on both sides or both terminals of the battery. And then you'll also notice these little lines that you see across these copper plates. These lines are actually laser welds. Laser welding is a technology that and a machine that Bosch has actually invested in significantly in order to improve the attachment of these copper plates to the cell. The copper that I mentioned also is much more conductive than what other battery manufacturers use. For example, I have this battery here. I just want to take a look at just the way that this battery is constructed and the way that it's connected. The first thing that you may notice that you can see the galvanized steel. Over time, the galvanized coating on this steel begins to wear off, and when it wears off, it makes the contacts less conductive, so therefore you can transfer less power out of the battery into your tool. The second thing you may notice, and we may have to get a close shot of this, is that you can actually see that some of these wires are actually soldered to the galvanized steel, the galvanized metal. Solder is a very impure material and should not be used for maximum power transfer. So, you know, when you use something that is not pure, like solder, to construct and attach components of the battery, you do nothing but add resistance, and when you add resistance, you add heat, and when you add heat, that's bad for the battery, and if you don't have a mechanism to manage that heat and get it away from the battery, you're really just compounding your problem. The third thing that you may notice here is that you can see the epoxy that's on the battery. Again, another impure material that's just used to hold things in place. And this is just not what Bosch thinks is the best way to design a battery. So, you know, the galvanized steel, the epoxy, and the soldered joints just don't lead to maximum transfer of power out of the battery. So the three things that I've told you about is, one, the improvement in the cell. Going from the 18650 to the 2700 gets us 80% more power out of the battery. The second thing I talked to you about is, again, CoolPack 2.0, better heat management. Each cell has its own compartment. We get the heat out of the battery and away from the battery. And then the third thing I talked to you about, construction of the battery. Copper plates on both sides, very conductive. Laser welding, which requires a significant investment into this technology, into this machine, to get that laser welding so that you don't add any impurities to the battery. So those three things are what Bosch has done. Because of that, with the better heat management, we're actually able to get 135% extension in the life of the battery, 135% longer lifetime. That means more charges. So when it comes to replacing your batteries, you would really need to take that into consideration, because as you have to replace batteries, that cost will be extended significantly will be spread out significantly with the core battery, because you will not have to, the lifetime will be much longer. And then the third thing, or another thing I want to say, is about the charge time. We also talk about absolute charge time. A battery cannot be charged until it is below a certain temperature threshold. Because the core battery should never get above that temperature threshold, you can begin charging the battery immediately. With other batteries, because when you're using them, they tend to and will heat up. So there are times when it does appear as though the battery is actually dead. Well, actually the battery is not dead. It's just the fact that it's overheated and it's beginning its thermal shutdown to protect the battery. And then when you try to charge it, it has to cool down below that threshold before you can begin charging it. So again, with the core battery, we don't have that issue. The battery should never reach that threshold, and because it doesn't reach that threshold, we actually have a shorter charging time, and the charging time for 100% charge is about 55 minutes, 41 minutes for 80% charge. So I'm glad that I was able to talk to you about the Core 18-volt battery. If you have any questions, please contact BoschTools.com, and you will be able to get whatever information that you need to know about the battery. Thank you.